Hello guys, this is for Algebra 2, Week 6, Day 4. We're still on the radical equations topic, but this time is for word problems. Okay, so I have pre-written this question right here. This is from the book, and the question is the relationship between the length of the pendulum L in feet and the time it takes for a pendulum to swing back and forth one time, or its period T. So I'm going to start highlighting some of these, important information. Period is T. And then the length of the pendulum is L. Okay, so it's modeled by an equation T equals to 2 pi times radical L over 32. If the pendulum's period is 4 seconds, so if the period is 4 seconds, determine the pendulum's length. So let's look at if this is my equation, what is something that we can substitute in? What is the 4 for? The 4 is period, and the number or the letter that we're using for period is T. That means 4 goes right there. Okay, and then we rewrite everything else. Okay, so since we are looking for the pendulum's length, we are looking for L. And if you notice, all of these other items right here, they're just really numbers, okay? The pi is really a number. So we're going to try our best to move all of these items to the left side. And let's start off with 2 pi, because 2 pi is out of the square root. So let's start off by dividing both sides by 2 pi. So the 2 pi get canceled out. And now if I have 4 over 2 pi, that's really, these get canceled out. I have 2 over pi equals to square root of L over 32. Okay, we made the right side a little bit shorter now, so let's move on to the next part. The next thing that we're going to do is multiply. Oh, not really multiply, but we're going to square both sides. So the square roots get canceled out. Okay, so I have L over 32 equals to, I'm going to square both top and bottom. So 4 over pi square. Okay, last step. L needs to stand by itself, so we're going to multiply both sides by 32. So this side goes away. I have L equals 32 times 4 over pi square. 32 times 4 is 128 over pi square. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys use a calculator and solve for that. So anytime you have to reach to your final answer for these word problems, you will try to use your calculator. Okay, unless it's like already in the square root form. Okay, if it is already in the square root form and there's no decimals involved, you can just leave it in square root. But this one, we are talking about a length. So the answer is about 12.97. We have a unit is feet. Okay, so this is our answer. So that's the only example I have for you. In terms of like examples, but then I will work on 2 of your homework questions for you. So your homework for this week on this day is page 4. Okay, page 5 is for honors. So let's look at page 4, number, oops, that side. Yeah, so it's like right here. Okay, so let's go to page 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's look at number 1, because we got this whole entire distance formula. And if you look at this, it says the distance between any 2 points on a coordinate grid D can be calculated by using the equation D equals to square roots, and then you subtract your x's square, subtract your y square, where x1, y1 represent the coordinates of 1 point, okay, and then x2, y2 represents the coordinates of the second point, another point. Okay, so you would notice that we actually have two sets of parentheses here. So let's use this one as our set 2 and this one as our set 1. And this number right here, 8, it says exactly 8 units. So that's representing D. Okay, so let's substitute everything we can. We're going to start off with 8 equal, okay, and big square root. Okay, we're going to start out with x2 minus x1. So x2 minus x1, which is 2 minus x, close parentheses, square. Okay, and then we're going to keep adding now the y's, and then we square it. So we're looking at y2 and y1, which is the last numbers, which is -3 minus 0. Okay, if you start out with x minus 2, then you got to do 0 minus -3. Okay, got to follow the subtractions. Okay, so let's look at 2 minus x squared. That one we actually need to do that work on the side. 2 minus x times 2 minus x. Okay, so kind of like the previous pages, we got to multiply using distribution. So we get 4 minus 2x minus another 2x plus x squared. So we're going to end up having x squared minus 4x plus 4. Okay, so this replaces the first part. And now we're going to drop the plus sign right here. -3 minus 0 square, which is -3 squared, which is 9. Okay, let's keep working up here. Ooh, you guys are not going to like this question. Let's keep going first. I'm going to keep my 8 on one side equal to square root. Combine your like terms. I have x squared minus 4x plus 13. Okay. What are we going to do to both sides? We're going to square both sides because we got to get rid of that square root. So 64 equals to x squared minus 4x plus 13. Okay. Because we have a trinomial, we have to subtract both sides with the 64. So we can set one side equal to 0. So I can have x squared minus 4x minus 51 equal to 0. Okay. And does anything go into 51, multiply to 50 to get 51 and add to get 4? 51 is a very odd number, so it's like 1 and 51, 3 and 17, and basically that's it. And none of them actually get me 4 when I add it or subtract it. Okay, so in that case, we're going to use our quadratic formula where we have our 1, -4, and -15 as our A, B, and C. Okay, so we're going to substitute into our quadratic formula. X equal, I'm going to write it up here, x equals to -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's substitute negative parentheses plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Remember I said we always want to set it up so whenever we substitute our information, we won't forget our negative sign. Okay, we're going to start out with b. b, it shows us negative 4. So I'm going to put negative 4 in here, and then negative 4 again, 1, and negative 51. The bottom is going to be a 1. Okay, let me zoom into this question. So you may want to use your calculator to figure out what this whole back part is. Okay, that's actually going to give you 110 plus or minus, and then we have a 4 in the front over 2. Okay, if you put all of that in the calculator, you get 110. Is it 110? Sorry, maybe not 110. Let me use the calculator again. I think it was, oops. Oh, it's actually 220. We have a 4, and then we have our 2. There we go. Okay, it's actually 220, and I take out a 4 from there because 220 is 55 times 4, and 4 is a 2 and 2, right? So I have a pair of 2. I can take out a 2 and keep the 55 in there over 2. Okay, almost done. 4 divided by 2 is a 2. And then we have our plus or minus. 2 divided by 2 is nothing, so I have 55. Okay, so that's basically your answer right here. And identify the point. Oh, so they want the points x comma 0, so we gotta write it. I'm gonna write my final answer here. Sorry, it's kind of messy. So our final answer is 2 plus square root of 55 comma 0 and 2 minus square root of 55 comma 0. Okay, so this is our final answer. Got it? Okay, I promise you, number 2, we start off the same step, but then we don't have to use quadratic formula from there. Okay, so try your best to do number 2 on your own, and feel free to send it to me if you have any questions, okay, after you start on it. So I'm not going to do number 2 for you. Let me see. I think you can also do number 3. And I'm actually going to start on number 4 for you. Okay, number 4, we have a formula right here. And we got 2 letters. S stands for speed. So the speed in meters per second. Speed is meters per second. And then D is the depth of the ocean in meters. Okay, so both of those are for in meter. And then they said, suppose a tsunami is traveling at a speed of 8.3 kilometers per second. How deep is the ocean at that point? So which letter are we given? 8.3 kilometer. That's actually our S, right? We can actually substitute our S later with 8.3, but here's the thing. It's actually in kilometer right now. So we want to change this into meters to match our information. Okay, and it tells us that 1 kilometer equals to 1,000 meters. So that means I'm going to move 3 decimals, which is 8,300 meters. Okay, so now that we have our units figured out, we're going to substitute. We got 8,300 equals to square root of 9.8 d. And it's very obvious that we're solving for d in this case. On the right side, nothing is outside of the square root, so we can square both sides to get rid of the square roots. Okay, 8,300. Let's see what that is in our calculator. Okay, so it's 68, 89, 0, and 3 more 0. So this number is 68,890,000. Yeah, and 890,000. Not good reading my numbers. Equals to 9.8D. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by 9.8. And D would be, actually, let me have you figure that out in your calculator. Okay, so whatever that is, that's your answer in meters. Okay, so get that number for me for number 4. For honors, your extra page is gonna be very similar. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And that's it for today's lesson.